right, Matt, first of all, every time that we do this, I think this is our third or fourth, I think it's our fourth time doing this. Every single time, Michigan fans flock to it like a moth to the flame. Well, what's your reaction knowing just, Michigan fans love hearing what you have to say, especially considering you're kind of rivals, kind of? I mean, not really, but kind of.
USC?
Yeah, because Rose Bowl.
Yeah, no, it's look, it's always fun going here. We played Michigan in the 2004 Rose Bowl. I actually almost went to Michigan too, so I got nothing but love for Michigan. Yeah, the fans are great, and this game in particular makes it like why college football is the best in my opinion. You have two heated and really two fan bases who hate each other, but this game means so much. Both teams are undefeated, so playoff is on the line. But yeah, USC, Michigan, we had a little bit, the old school Rose Bowl, Big Ten, Pac-12 rivalry back in the day, which was awesome to be a part of.
So looking at this game, obviously there's a lot of different off-field things. Obviously on-field, Ohio State's been a little more dominant as of late. Michigan, the last couple weeks, obviously there's Penn State, but Maryland didn't look as good. What do you think, if you were to boil it down to just a couple different things, what would you say are the biggest keys for Michigan in considering where Michigan stands right now?
Yeah, I think for Michigan, two things. When you look at their offense, they've been so run dominant really the last couple of weeks, and I know J.J. McCarthy's kind of nursing an injury. I'm sure he'll be amped up and ready to go in this game. I wonder if the pass game is kind of taking a little bit of a step back, so they do have to find balance, I think, in this game, because Ohio State's defense is just much better equipped than it's been in the past, I think. And obviously in this game, Michigan's been able to run the ball, especially in the fourth quarter, and kind of wear them down. So just kind of still staying true to that, but making some big plays down the field in the pass game. And then defensively, two things. One, TreVeyon Henderson has really picked up in the last month, and he's a home run hitter every time he touches the ball. But most importantly, it's Marvin Harrison Jr. You got to have a plan for him. You just don't want him to change the game, because he's arguably the best player in college football. And if he kind of gets going and makes some of those big plays, that can create a lot of momentum for that offense. So from their defensive standpoint, just having an answer for him, not letting him take over, limiting the home run plays from TreVeyon Henderson, and the other side just finding some balance on their offense.
Both teams have recently had some issues when it comes to pass protection. What have you seen from both offensive lines as of late? You've seen Michigan each of the last 2 weeks. You saw Ohio State about a month ago.
Yeah, Ohio State's actually gotten a lot better as the season's progressed. They're running the football better. They're protecting Common Core pretty well. So they're actually probably trending in the right direction. Obviously, this game is, Michigan. We saw what they were able to do against Maryland last week. Michigan's defense line is very good, so they're going to have their hands full. I'm a little more concerned with Michigan's offensive line. They had trouble last week against Maryland. They had trouble against Penn State, and that's the type of players they're going to play. They're going to play some big-time guys tomorrow, especially on the outside. So as good as Michigan's offensive line has been in the last couple of years, that is something that they need to be better in this game, or else they could get exposed, and it could be a long day for McCarthy.
The run game has really gotten going in the last couple of weeks for the Wolverines. You look at Penn State, obviously they ran the ball a ton in that game. Finally kind of saw Blake Corum and Donovan Edwards both kind of break some big runs in that one. They didn't have the biggest runs against Maryland, but they still ran the ball effectively. How have you seen those guys emerge, and how much, even just being in a rivalry, they're both healthy for the first time in this rivalry. How much would that mean? Yeah,
that's huge. You got Blake Corum didn't play really in this game last year. He was injured. Donovan Edwards, kind of his coming out party, had a massive game. Having two backs like that is such an advantage for Michigan, because you can spell them. Blake Corum has 52 carries in the last two games, so Donovan Edwards is kind of taking a step back this year as far as just his workload. But both guys, anytime they're in there touching the ball, they're capable of carrying 25 times. They're also capable of breaking the 80-yard run. And I think that's just where Ohio State's fallen short in the last 2 years, is really that fourth quarter, because Michigan just, 3 yards, they'll grind you, then boom, they pop a 50-yarder. And that's kind of what their offense is, and that's why they're tough to beat, because they make you play for 4 quarters. So that's the advantage they have in this game, until they're going to go out there and they're going to try to run the football, and that's up to Ohio State. If Ohio State can kind of slow them down consistently, force them into those passing situations, then Ohio State's going to have a great chance of winning the game.
Two more for you. First, J.J. McCarthy. He seems to have taken big steps from last year to this year. As someone who played the position, you have a keen insight that maybe others don't have. What has allowed him to do so?
Year two, just confidence is everything. As a quarterback, experience and confidence. And last year, really, it was this game we said, hey, he's been really good last year. He's managed this game and the season, but this is the game where he's going to be asked to make a play. And I think he threw for 4 touchdowns or 3, whatever. He had 280. He had a big game against Ohio State last year. And last year he was a quarterback you could win with. He was a guy that was going to not turn the ball over. This year you're winning because of him. I think he's just taken that next step. The numbers are down in the last couple of weeks, but they haven't really asked him to throw the football. But you can just tell the way he plays. And as a quarterback, confidence is the biggest thing. When you have experience, you've been in these games, you've had those reps. That's everything. So he's going to be ready to play. I mean, he's a gamer. He's 23-1 as a starter. The dude just wins games. He's a future first-round pick. I mean, he's a stud, man. He's going to be ready to go.
So I remember asking you before Penn State last year, what did you think was going to happen in the game? And while everyone else was saying Michigan wasn't going to run the ball, if I remember correctly, you said they really might be able to. When you look at this game, how do you see it kind of unfolding?
I've been going back and forth. It's hard. Part of me feels like Ohio State's better equipped this year just because of what we've seen from them. But really, it's interesting, really, because both teams, the offenses haven't been strong in the Big Ten. You look at both these schedules, they really haven't played a potent offense. So you can almost say they really haven't been super tested up until this point. So there's still a lot of question marks, I think, for both teams in that regard. This is a rivalry game. Anything can happen. There's going to be big plays. There's going to be turnover. I mean, there's just going to that happens. I mean, this is as big as it gets. I'll tell you what, it's going to be fun to watch. I don't know how it's going to play out, man. I'm going back and forth, but it's going to be a great game.
Awesome. Thanks, Matt.
Cool, man. Yeah.